Hey guys, Mr. 16-Bits back again, and this time I'm here to give you my thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy. Where to begin with Guardians of the Galaxy? My first thought? It's good. It's really good. It's one of the better Marvel movieverse movies. Like, I've had issues with a few of the last movies. I didn't care much for Iron Man 3. I haven't seen Thor 3, but I had issues with Thor 3. Just go back and watch my Captain America Winter Soldier view. Is this the best of the Marvel movies? No. But it's close. It is very close. It is in the top tier, like, of all the ones that's out there, because you got 3 Iron Man movies, 2 Thor movies, 2 Captain America movies, the Avengers movie, as well as the Incredible Hulk movie. Although that's technically not, although some people are saying that now that's technically not true, but it is. All they really did is they recast. It's in continuity with the Marvel movies. If you watch the Hulk movie again, at the end you see Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. So I'm counting that too. Like I said, it's one of my top tier ones. And before anybody starts, everybody before this movie came out, there were so many people that were like, oh, this is going to suck. It's going to be a horrible movie. And on the other end of the spectrum were people like, it looks funny. It's going to be fun and adventurous. And stop being so negative. And I was one of those people. I was like, stop being so negative. We need to get out of this pessimistic era that we're in. Everybody is so pessimistic. Everybody is so doubting and sarcastic, and just everybody is so vile. You can't go out and have fun at the movies anymore because everything has to be dark and brooding and serious, and you can't just go out and have a fun adventure. And that's what Guardians of the Galaxy is. It's a fun adventure, and I knew it was going to be a fun adventure from the start because I knew that I had faith in the cast. I had faith in the director. James Gunn rewrote the script, and he directed it, and James Gunn has not let me down as a director yet. This is the man who directed the movie Slither. I actually have it right here on my stack of DVDs. This is Slither. This is a really good horror movie. This is a really good sci-fi horror movie. It's a throwback to like the 60s B movies, the 50s and 60s B horror movies done in a more modern era, and there's very little CGI in this. This is actually almost all practical effects. But then I expect it because James Gunn got his start working for Troma. He started working on movies like Tromeo and Juliet, another very good Troma movie, very disgusting. That's just the way Troma is. If you're going to see a Troma movie, you have to expect gross out stuff. So I was really looking forward to him doing Guardians of the Galaxy, and I felt he did a fantastic job. There were a few spots where I felt there were some missed opportunities, a few flaws to it, you know. Chris Pratt's character, I mean, it works with the way the script is written, the way Chris Pratt's character of Star-Lord is. Chris Pratt plays Peter Quill, Star-Lord. And I've heard a lot of people say he looks and he acts like he came out of a stoner comedy. And that's sort of the thing. Everybody else is these uptight, formal alien bounty hunters and mercenaries and stuff. Peter Quill is this guy from Earth, you know. He is a guy who was abducted as a child from Earth, and he grew up in space. He knows how to operate a spaceship. He knows how to work alien technology. So Peter Quill is familiar with metaphors and euphemisms that are from the Earth, from where he grew up. And so he constantly does that. And it works with the movie, but at the same time, it kind of clashes with everything else in the movie. Because everything else is being built up to be this great space opera and stuff, and you have Star-Lord over here doing dance-offs and acting goofy and making references to stuff from the 70s and the 80s. Like, he makes references to like stuff like Flashdance and Indiana Jones and the Maltese Falcon and stuff like that. He makes all those different references, and he's constantly listening to all these really good 70s songs. Like, of course, Hooked on a Feeling is there. You heard that throughout the trailers, you know. So Hooked on a Feeling is in the movie. But you also get stuff like, if you like Pina Coladas, you get to hear Cherry Bomb. I'm trying to think of what Jackson 5 song they use. It's not ABC. It's, I think it's Baby Give Me One More Chance. I think that's the Jackson 5 song that they use. And there's a bunch more others. There's some really good music. That's another really great thing about this movie. It has a great soundtrack to it. I couldn't wait to hear what the next big 70s pop song was going to come on. You know, because, like, they had this big suit-up scene where they're basically building weapons and getting ready to fight bad guys to Cherry Bomb. And Cherry Bomb is a great song in and of itself. If you've never listened to the song Cherry Bomb, check it out. I can't think of what band that does Cherry Bomb is. I think it might be the Runaways. I think the Runaways did Cherry Bomb. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. But anyway, yeah, Peter Quill kind of sticks out. He fits with the script, but he just kind of sticks out a little bit to me. It's basically like they were trying to make him be that dashing rogue comedy relief character that a lot of sci-fi shows go for. Like, he was trying to be a lot of Han Solo and a lot of Firefly and just a lot of those archetypes. And that just, it was a minor nitpick for me, but I lived with it. Then you have Drax, played by WWE superstar Dave Bautista. I've gone back and forth on whether or not Drax or Rocket Raccoon is my favorite character, because Drax takes everything literal. He doesn't get metaphors. And this leads to probably some of the funniest lines in the movie, and I just love Bautista's deadpan delivery of all of these lines, you know, because, like, Rocket Raccoon's trying to explain to Star-Lord, you know, he doesn't get metaphors, all of it goes over his head, and Drax is like, nothing goes over my head. I have trained too long and too hard. I can quickly grab it out of the air, whatever that may be. You know, and he's so serious and stern about it, and it's absolutely hilarious. Even whenever he's giving people compliments, he is so militaristic and stern, and it makes for great comedy. Then we move on to Gamora. Gamora, in ways, she is the smartest member of the team, and in ways, she's just as dumb as the other members of the team. Because the Guardians of the Galaxy, this movie portrays them all as a ragtag bunch of misfits, and that's basically what they're supposed to be. So, all of them are dumb in certain ways. Gamora, it feels like she should be smarter. I mean, she acts smarter than all of them. She's been trained. She's one of the daughters of Thanos. By the way, Thanos, the big purple dude at the end of the Avengers movie. So she's been trained by Thanos all of her life. She's an assassin. She's an expert military leader. All that stuff. So she has all this good. She's an intelligent person. It's just that at the same time, certain scenes show her not getting common things, you know. She doesn't, much like Drax, there are certain metaphors that she doesn't get, and she stares at, like, people like she's like a deer in the headlights at times, and that's another minor nitpick, is that Gamora, I felt, could have been fleshed out a little bit more. She could have been given a little more intelligence, a little more personality to her, because, like, we don't really get to do much. She's in almost the majority of the movie. She's in most of the movie. She shares equal screen time with the rest of the Guardians. But I feel like she's probably the weakest link in the team, if that makes sense. Then we move on to everybody's favorite two characters. Rocket Raccoon and his big heavy Groot. Groot is the rather large CGI tree man. Groot in this movie, as well as in the original comics, only ever said 3 words. I am Groot. In that order. That's all he ever said. I am Groot. Groot is voiced by Vin Diesel. And Groot is probably the most sympathetic of all the characters, in that Groot, just from the CGI work that they use on him, the facial expressions, and just Vin Diesel taking 3 words, because that's all he did, is he said 3 words throughout this whole movie, and he's saying, I am Groot, but the way he inflects it, the tone shift in them, you can almost understand what he means whenever he says, I am Groot. Just like Rocket can understand him. Because that's another thing. That's the reason why Groot and Rocket are together, is that Rocket's really the only one who can understand what Groot's saying whenever Groot just says, I am Groot. And so you have Groot and you have Rocket. And Groot's like this big, lovable dog. That's the best way to describe it. Because he's so, you look at him and he's just, you want to hug him. He sits there and he does goofy stuff, and like a scene right out of the trailer is him drinking out of the public water fountain, and Rocket's scolding him, "Don't do that. That's disgusting." And it's like, and here Rocket's like, "Yes, you did. I just saw you." So, he is just like this big lovable dog, and it's probably one of Vin Diesel's better roles, despite the fact that, once again, all he says is, I am Groot. And then we get to Rocket, voiced by Bradley Cooper. One thing I will applaud this movie, it's very good CGI. I loved all the fur work on Rocket, and I loved Rocket himself, because Bradley Cooper's not a voice actor, and I know a lot of people were worried about Bradley Cooper's portrayal of Rocket. Rocket is everybody's favorite character so far. Rocket, like I said, I'm really torn between whether I like Rocket or I like Drax more, because Rocket is so sarcastic. He has so many good one-liners. If I could best describe Rocket Raccoon, he would be a mix of a little bit of Deadpool. No, not Deadpool, because Deadpool breaks the fourth wall a lot. But actually more like Spider-Man at his most sarcastic. That would probably be the best bet. Would be a Spider-Man at his most sarcastic, because that's something that I felt the Spider-Man movies never did right. They never really captured the whole Spider-Man is always joking. He is always sarcastic. He is always pushing his opponent. He's always pushing his Rogues Gallery's buttons, Whenever Spider-Man fights Doc Ock, or if he fights the Green Goblin, he's constantly making quips at them. And Rocket is constantly sarcastic. So if I had to describe Rocket Raccoon, he would be a mixture of Spider-Man, Han Solo, and Rambo. Because let me tell you, Rocket, give this little raccoon a gun, and he goes trigger happy. And much like any 80s action star, you take Stallone in Rambo First Blood Part 2, you take Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando, Rocket's guns never run out of ammo. He just chain guns everything. I think like one of the highlights of the movie is them trying to break out of prison, and Rocket gets a chain gun and jumps up, and Groot helps him up onto his shoulders, and Rocket's on Groot's shoulders, and Groot is spinning around, and Rocket is on his shoulders just firing this massive chain gun at people, like over the shoulder chain gun thing, and he's just like, it's insane watching Rocket Raccoon lay waste to fools. And really, I see them going further. I really do. Because they're the breakout stars of this movie, and Rocket and Groot are going to be... and that they're going to be back for Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Because Marvel has already announced that, yes, there will be a Guardians of the Galaxy 2. They announced it at San Diego Comic-Con. So you have Groot, you have Rocket. I feel that these two are this generation's Han Solo and Chewbacca. Hear me out. They're both for hire. They're both guns for hire. Han Solo and Chewbacca are hired smugglers / mercenaries. And you have Rocket and Groot, who are hired mercenaries / bounty hunters. You know, they go where the money is. One of them is the big heavy muscle who doesn't say much, who you can't really understand what he's talking about. Groot only says, "I am Groot." Chewbacca only roars. And like I said, and what I was saying with Rocket Raccoon, he is one of his big influences is Han Solo. I see a lot of Han Solo in Rocket Raccoon. In fact, I'm willing to bet there's plenty of fan art out there already showing Rocket dressed as Han Solo. So, you know, you have Rocket and Groot, and they're going to be the big breakout stars. Not only do I see them continuing in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, I would honestly be happy to see the two of them in their own spin-off movie. You know, Rocket and Groot's Wild Adventures. It'd be fun. It really would. So you have all them. And you have Rocket, you have Groot, and you have all that. And that's why I say they're going to be this generation's Han Solo and Chewbacca, especially going forward, because they're going to be, you know, they're going to be in the sequel movie. And then I found out, also announced at San Diego Comic-Con, Disney plans on making a Guardians of the Galaxy animated series that's supposed to come out next year. So we're going to get an animated Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon, too. You're going to get a Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon, and knowing how well the movie has done, because this movie is still raking in a huge amount of box office money, I honestly see Rocket and Groot's personalities transferring from the movie, their movie personalities, into the cartoon personalities for Rocket Raccoon and Groot. So I know that we are going to get more kids are going to enjoy Rocket and Groot from the movie. They're going to Disney and Marvel are hoping that they will fall in love with them in the animated series as well. And really that's where I see all of this amalgam going, is that I see them being the inspiration for kids of this generation, kids who are growing up and watching these movies and these cartoons now. Whenever they get to be adults, I see them being their guys. You know, I'm willing to bet we're going to see more people cosplaying as Groot and Rocket Raccoon. You know, we're going to see guys we're going to see kids and men dressed in the Rocket Raccoon orange jumpsuit. So, all the characters overall, pretty good. I can't go really over too many flaws without spoiling the movie. But like I said, overall, it is fun. I would probably put it... I still think Avengers is the best of the Marvel movies so far. That being said, I liked it. I've liked it more. This is actually the superhero movie of the year, in my opinion, because I was really happy with Captain America 2: The Winter Soldier. I thought that was a great follow-up after the Avengers. That being said, like I said, I think it's the best of this year. It's definitely worth checking out. That being said, like I said, I think Avengers, Iron Man 1, and probably the original Thor movie, I would probably put above this. But this would be a solid number 4. This would really have a solid number 4 slot. And then maybe I don't know, Captain America 2 after this, and then Captain America 1, and then maybe Iron Man 2. So it's a lot. So that's all that there is to that. And I'm going to start going into spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's already been spoiled for me, but because I didn't get to stick around for the end credits thing. I did not get to stick around for that. I didn't get to see the end credits spoiler, but I've already had it spoiled. And that's why I said, spoilers have already started. I'm going to warn you one more time. This is where spoilers start. The end credits, we see the Collector sitting at the bar having a drink. It's the bar in Nowhere. Because halfway through the movie, the Guardians go to Nowhere to try and sell this MacGuffin that everybody's fighting over, which turns out to be one of the Infinity Gems. Or in the movie verse, they're called the Infinity Stones. Gemstones, what have you. They're still part of the Infinity Gauntlet. So they went to Nowhere. For those of you that don't know, Nowhere is the hollowed out head of a giant celestial being. Basically, it floats in the middle of the universe, and people go there all the time into the head of this giant giant celestial being. Think of it, if you're a Transformers fan, think of it like the giant hollowed out head of Unicron from the original Transformers series. So this giant celestial being's head's floating out in the middle of nowhere. And basically people have set up shop inside of his head. Because what they do is they mine out the head. They're mining out like the skull of the head and like the brain and all that, because it's vital resources. They can use like this god, basically, the celestial being's brain for fuel and things like that. And you know, the bones of his skull can be used too for other things. And so they go to Nowhere, and that's where they meet the Collector, and that's where things go south. Is when they're meeting the Collector, because they find out that the Infinity Stone has galactic cosmic power. If you ever read the comic book, The Infinity Gauntlet, you'll know how powerful all of these stones are. They basically, if you possess all 6 Infinity Stones, you are a god, plain and simple, because nobody can stand up to you, nobody can stop you. The Infinity Stones basically allow you to shape the universe any way you feel like. That being said, so just one of these is unbelievably powerful. And I believe the stone, anyway, after the credits roll, you see the Collector at the bar in Nowhere, having a drink, basically, crying into his beer because he lost one of the Infinity Stones. Because he didn't get one of the Infinity Stones, because he's already gotten the other 2. Because he's already gotten 2 before this third one. The first 2 are the Tesseract from the Avengers, and the other one is the plot MacGuffin from Thor 2. Because if you watch the ending to Thor 2, the end credit screen shows Thor's buddies giving the plot MacGuffin from that movie to the Collector, and that was Infinity Stone number 2, and this is Infinity Stone number 3. So, we've gotten to see Thanos. We've seen 3 of the 6 Infinity Stones. So we really are heading towards that Infinity Gauntlet story. And I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with that. But anyway, he's at the bar, and he's crying into his beer about, losing the third Infinity Stone. And he's like, well, at least I have the other 2. And he's sitting there talking about this over beer with an alien creature in a cloak. The cloaked alien creature turns out to be Howard the Duck. And apparently this is a real thing. Apparently we are going to be getting Howard the Duck on the big screen again. The last Howard the Duck movie was, of course, back in the 80s, and there's a lot of people that don't like the Howard the Duck movie from the 80s. If you want my honest opinion, it's a very flawed movie. The original 1980s Howard the Duck movie is very flawed, and it's probably its biggest flaw is because it can't make up its mind whether it wants to be an adult movie or a kid's movie. And it should have been one or the other. because I know what they were trying to do with that movie. They were trying to make it racy and for adults, because that's the kind of character Howard the Duck is. If you've ever read any of the Howard the Duck, if you go and try and look up the Howard the Duck comics and stuff, you're going to find out he is absolutely filthy of a character. Basically, yeah. If you want to see duck boobs, Howard the Duck has duck. Women of Howard the Duck species, yes, they have duck boobs. And he curses all the time. He drinks. He will get completely sloshed on alcohol. He smokes cigars. That's the kind of character Howard the Duck is. So I'm really wondering how they're going to do this with Howard the Duck in any capacity. They basically kind of teased it that apparently in 2 years we might be seeing Howard the Duck on the big screen. Whether it's going to be as part of another movie or if he's going to get his own movie, I don't know. Marvel has announced their planned movies for like the next 5 years, but there's always room to add more movies to that. Like I said, so that being said, that's the big spoiler after the credits roll. I wish I could really talk more about this movie, because there are so many funny parts to it that really, that's all I would be doing to you folks, is I would just be relating comedy bits to you. I would just be telling you, oh yeah, it was really funny whenever Chris Pratt was talking about this, or it was really funny when Bradley Cooper was saying this to everybody as Rocket, because like there's funny scenes, there's sad scenes, there's heartwarming scenes. One scene that I really remember was they really made Rocket sympathetic is whenever he gets drunk at the bar in Nowhere, and basically he's trying to get into a bar fight with everybody, and he's just like, I didn't ask to be like this. And so you have a lot coming from all of these characters, like I said, so I can't really go into much detail in that. Go see it. You're gonna have a good time. There's lots of action, there's lots of sci-fi, there's lots of comedy. I love this movie. I could not give it any better praise than what I already have. Till next time.